Do this shit until they murder me.
Hey y'all, welcome back to VegasBoost. Got a bit of an update for you guys. The car has been finally dyno tuned. I had a first session, or at least my first session back in November. The car couldn't be fully tuned yet. I actually broke the diaphragm in my wastegate, and since it's a 60 millimeter wastegate, I had no spares. There was not one in the shop that actually fit it, since it's just kind of a generic looking 60 millimeter that has the firing built into the V-band flange. So if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Anyways, I finally had the opportunity to re-dyno back this past Monday, January 17th. So the car did reach my goal. I wanted to make more than 450, but less than 500. The car made 464 horsepower and 407 pound-feet of torque at about 16-ish PSI. It did spike to about 20, and then it kind of leveled off and stayed pretty steady at 16. So there were some issues at the dyno. I did have an oil control issue in cylinder number 1. We pulled all the plugs and they all looked okay except for number 1. It was a little wet. There was a little bit of oil in it, so we decided to just continue, since my tuner said it'll be okay and I can take care of that, take some measures to actually fix that. But so we actually did continue to do it right after it broke the 400 horsepower barrier when we found that out. But I didn't want to go for a lot of power, mainly because this car is going to be a street car, autocross car, road course car. I don't need it to make 600, 700, 800 horsepower. It's just unusable power in any of those, I guess, scenarios you want to call it. So it's perfect where it is, 464, 407, and it's rock solid, and it's very rowdy. Even when I took it for the test ride right after the tune, I actually have some radials on the car right now, drag radials, and now I bought these a long time ago. They're not meant for this car. The only reason why I put them on is because the tires that are on it, or on my other set of wheels, are bald, and I have not put new tires on them yet. So I was like, this is a good set, and it won't slip on the dyno, yada yada. First, second, and third gear were being broken loose with this tune. So they were a little cold, so I warmed them up a little bit, drove around, did some turns, and I didn't do a burnout or anything like that. But after I got some heat in them, third gear actually started to stick, which is great. So, but it felt really great. It felt a lot faster than my 3S did at a similar power level. My 3S made a little bit more, actually a little bit more. And yeah, it's great. The car is great. So now I'm addressing the issues that we found on the dyno. So I actually found that as soon as I got it back, that one, I was running too light of an oil. So I was running like a 10W40, and my tuner was like, yeah, you gotta up that up. So I was running also some additives, and just kind of get the best of both worlds. Some liquid moly anti-friction modifier, a zinc, a ZDDP additive. But I'm going to be switching to the VR1 racing oil here, 1540 or a 2050, whichever one I decided to pick up. But as for the actually number 1 cylinder being a little wet, so I cleaned up everything and put it back together. I just checked it after I got it in the garage. It still had a little bit, maybe not a lot, but enough to bother me. So and then I checked all the valve cover bolts because I noticed some seepage out of some of the corners, or at least 2 of the corners. and all of the bolts, and I have like a recessed bolt, like an Allen bolt set for the valve cover. Every single one of those was really loose. Like, it was loose enough to where the little caps with the little O-ring underneath them were loose enough to where I could move them with my hand. So I think that contributed to my problem, and I already fixed that. So I put in new O-rings because they were all flat. So new, better Vicon O-rings. I think the ones that came with the really, really cheap rubber stuff. Redid the seal, and I think that's gonna take care of half the problem. The other problem was, and I didn't think of this before I did this modification, I don't know why it didn't cross my head, is that I don't have a catch can, an oil catch can. I have the breather port from a level 7 breather on my oil cap. Those lines run directly to my downpipe. So I don't have a catch can, it just creates a Venturi effect, sucks all that pressure out of my crankcase. The problem is that at idle, it doesn't create enough vacuum, and I didn't put a check valve in those fittings. So it's just pressurizing, because when there's nothing there to hold it back, the pressure is going to be pressurizing my crankcase, my motor. So I think that was another big problem, and I got really lucky. It didn't push oil out of any of the seals, so I inspected them all. They're all dry. So, and I've been running like that for, wow, over almost a year now, something like that. So, but it's fine. I already took apart the downpipe. I'm going to be fixing those. I already got the parts ordered, the check valves. I'm just going to add a check valve to the existing 10AN fittings that I have on my downpipe. Fix those lines, and that should solve the problem. I do have the idea to maybe get rid of some of the smoke, because on the dyno it did smoke. But the car doesn't generally, it did not burn smoke before at all. Like, there was never an indication that this car burned oil or that it had an oil control problem. But then again, I never really pushed the car hard. Like, the 2 times it was on the dyno were the 2 times it was pushed past 4,000 RPM. Everything else, but beyond that, and before and after that, were like, kind of just still breaking in the motor or just taking it easy. Because when it came off the dyno the first time, it was still, tuned, but not fully. So, but anyways, so the car is fully tuned now. This is a K24A2. The only thing that's done to it is a Eagle rods, Nippon hyper eutectic pistons. So the compression ratio should be about 9:7 to 1, I believe. It is running a 91 octane fuel with a boosting additive. So it is, the way I am doing the mix ratio is about 1.1 or 1.2 ounces per gallon. So I'm getting around 99 to 100 octane from each gallon of fuel. So, and I mix them up in 5-gallon batches, which I have here, VP gas rate. So I mix them in 5-gallon batches, no larger, in order to keep my mixture correct. So 5.5, so 5.5 or a little under 5.5 ounces of boostane go into each jug, mix it up, put it in there, and it's doing a great job. On Dyno, I asked if there was any pinging or any knock or anything like that. Nothing. It works great. I'm going to continue to use that additive. It is significantly cheaper than running the 100 octane that they have here in Pahrump. I do not have E85 available in my town. The only one that's available is in Las Vegas, and I am not making that drive for that. So this is a lot cheaper, and I got the idea here from some of the older muscle car owners in this town. This town is full of muscle cars, older folks that have very, very nice cars. So all in all, I'm very satisfied. For those who, again, don't want to know, there's nothing else under the car. Type S oil pump, Nippon hyper eutectic pistons, Eagle rods. That's it. The head is completely factory. I redid everything, new seals and stuff like that. But in a OEM head gasket, there's a Skunk 2 replica intake manifold, Craig Davies electric water pump, but other than that, that's it. Turbo Elements, which is now I think BWR, whatever they're rebranding themselves. A manifold, Borg Warner S252 turbo, which I love this thing, although we are hitting the efficiency of the turbo. So I think this is the max that I'm going to be putting this turbo out, which is great because I wanted to kind of reach the upper limit of this turbo. It's a 52 millimeter turbo with an 84 AR housing. And honestly, I love it. It spools great, and it is great for the street, great for the autocross. My torque range is right where I wanted it, right between 4,000 and about 6,500 RPM, which is where I'm going to be a lot in, and if I'm in a lower gear in some of the courses that I plan on running. So everything is actually doing really great. So I'm just wanting to give you guys an update. The car, fully tuned finally. I threw a video up in the beginning of this video. Jesus, I'm sorry. It's a little cold out. I'll throw a couple more here at the end. So yeah, thanks you guys for watching. I will update you guys on, oh, actually, you know what? Before I forget, a lot of people have been asking me about my lift, my scissor lift. I have a Harbor Freight, whatever you want to call it. It's the same model. But the scissor lift, mid-rise scissor lift, I think raises about here on me when I'm standing. I'm 6'1", and it reaches about my chest, so 47 inches, something like that. I'm going to do a review on that, or at least a combination of review and, like, you know, how do I like it? What can I use it for on an MR2 specifically? Because I've been asked if you can actually do a motor swap with that lift, and you can. I've never done it because I haven't been able to do that yet, but you can. So, you know, I will crank out another video for that. But this is a short update for you guys, so thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
That was a good pull. Yeah. 450.